Welcome back again to Novice Learning, and on this tutorial we're going to discuss on Java variables. So what is a variable? A variable is a container which holds value while Java program is executed. So in other words, we can say a variable is the name of a reserved area allocated in memory. So now let's see on how we can create a variable in Java. So currently I have just created my new Java file and I'm going to create now a class. So as usual, I'm going to start with public keyword, then followed by class keyword. After class keyword, then I'm going to create my classes variables. As I said, that the class name should always be similar as the file name. So my class is variables. Then I'm going to create my main method. I'm going just to write public static void main. After writing main, public static void main, then we're going to pass string. Then we can use an array of command line arguments. Then after that, we have opened our main function. As I said previously on the past tutorials, that the main function is the entry point of every Java program. So how can we create now variables in Java? So each variable must be specified a certain data type. We're going to study data types on the coming tutorial, but for now let's stick with only two data types. Let's say we want a data type to store words, maybe a word like a name, a word like an adjective, a sentence. We can store it by using string data type. So how are we going to create a variable? As I said, a variable must be specified with a certain data type. So we are going first to write a data type which is string. After that is being followed by a variable name. Maybe I want to store a name. Maybe then the variable name I'm just going to need to use maybe as full name. This is my variable name. After that, I'm going to assign a value to this variable, maybe a full name which I'm going to specify. Maybe it is a certain somebody's name. Maybe this person is called John, maybe Francis. After that, I'm going to close by semicolon. Then here, by using ESLint, it will just tell us that the value of the local variable is not being used. We have not yet used it from anywhere, so don't panic. We're going to use it and we're going to print it out, or we're going to use it in anywhere else, so we're going to override the value. So this is the format on how we can create variables in Java. So after that, I want maybe to output the value of the variable. Then I'm going to write system.out.println line. Then after that, I'm going now to use my variable, which is full name. After that, I'm going to close by using semicolon. And after that, now I'm going to compile my code. After compiling it, then I'm going to execute the bytecode which will be created. After that, I'm going just to use Java C. I'm writing here on the terminal. And then I'm going to write my class name, which is variables.java. This is a Java file. I'm sorry, it's not a class name, it's a Java file. After that, you compile to see if there's any error. If there's no error, like me, the Java bytecode, which is .class, will be created, and then you're going to run that by just writing Java, then variables. We expect that an output to be the full name which we passed on the variable. So after seeing on how we can create a variable, now let's go and discuss on types of variables which are available in Java. So Java consists of three types of variables. The first type of variable is local variable. So the example which we performed right now, this type of variable is called local variable. Writing comments in Java is by using double backslashes. I'm just going to write a certain comment telling you that this is a local variable. So a local variable is a variable which is being declared inside a function inside a function's body. So this variable cannot be used by other functions. So this is the main function. We can easily create other functions. For example, if I want to add something, I can just create another function which is called public. Maybe I want to return maybe an integer. Then I'm going to write maybe my function is called add, and then blah blah blah, and then inside here I'm going to return some blah blah blah, maybe return something, maybe return 9. Okay, this is not a real example, but I just want to explain what's local variable mean. So this variable string full name can only be accessed inside main function only. If you want to access this variable full name inside this function, it will just bring an error because this full name is not being determined, or its value cannot be read by this other function. So this full name is called a local variable, can only be accessed inside only that function which has been declared on it. So I think you just get my point very well. So local variable is a variable which is declared inside function's body and cannot be used by other functions. So that's a local variable. That's the first type of variables in Java. So the second type of variables in Java are instance variables. So any variable which is declared outside of a function and it is not declared as static, it is called an instance variable. Let me show you. Here it's how we can declare our instance variables. So we just declare our variable outside of any function, whether it's a main function or it's a sub function. We just declare it outside of function, but inside our class. So for example, I just want to declare maybe my age. Then I'm going just to write public. This public is a keyword ensuring that our variable can be accessed everywhere on our class. So this is public, and then I'm going to specify a data type. So I just want to declare an age. So an age, it's an integer. It's an integer number. So we're going to use a data type called int. Then followed by what? You can guess, it's a variable name. So a variable name which I'm going to use is age. Then I'm going to specify an age, maybe let's say 70 years old. Right? Okay, then now the question is, how are we going to access this instance variable inside our main function? Now stick with me. So even if you won't understand right now, just don't worry. Just grasp the concept that there are variables which are called instance variables. We're going to use these variables when we come to talk about an object-oriented programming later on this tutorial series. But for right now, I'm going just to show you on how we can easily access our instance variables inside our main function. So how are we going to access it? We are going first to create an object of our class. Now this comes to the concept that the Java is an object-oriented programming language. Then we're going just to create our object as follows. We're writing our class first, which is variables, and then we specify a name of an object, maybe an object, let's call it variable in small letter. After that, I'm going to write a constructor of a variable. If you don't understand about constructor or what constructor mean, don't worry. We'll discuss this later on the tutorials. Just stick with this tutorial until the end. Then we're going to just write our constructor, which is variables. And then we add parentheses, then we just close. After that, we have already declared an object. So a variable is an object. It it can carry, or it can be used to access any instance variable or static variable or any method which is available inside our class. Therefore, for my case, I just want to access variable age. So I just come here down and say variable dot age. So when I just write variable dot age, this means I have already accessed the age value. But what do I want to do with this value? I just want to print it out on my console, as you can see. So what am I going to do with? Then I'm going just to come here down and then output it by using system dot out dot print line. Then I'll just paste the value, or we can just write it again. We can just write our object, which is variable dot age. So until right now, we'll just be able to access our instance variable which we created outside our main function. So this is just simple on how we can easily access our instance object. So let's just run our example and see what will happen. So the first step is to compile. So we'll just clear out our terminal, and then we want to compile our source code to see if there's any error. You can just write java c and then variables dot java. After compiling it, then it will just say that, oh, there is an error on this constructor. So I've just forgotten something. When you just declare a new constructor, you need to pass it with a new keyword. You need to write it as new because we create a new constructor. Then we just come back again and clear our terminal and recompile it again to see if there's any error, and they say there's no error currently. Then we are just going to run our bytecode class, which is java variables, and we expect now to have two outputs. The first output is the full name and the second output is age. So when we run, we'll get the first output is the full name and the second output is the age, which is the instance variable we created. So until right now, I think you've just understood me. We have discussed about local variables and we have discussed about instance variables. Let me just comment here and write instance variable. So this is instance variable. So the third type of variables in Java is called static variable. So static variables are any variables that can be declared with static keyword. So for example, here we just created an instance variable. We want now to create a static variable. It's just simple. A static variable starts with a static keyword, but remember that a static variable cannot be declared inside any function. So keep that in mind. A static variable cannot be declared inside any function. I've just repeated it in order for you to capture it very well. So we are going to declare our static variable outside of the function, but we add a static keyword on it. It will help us to easily access the variable without creating an object. So let's see. I'm going to create my variable, a static variable, and I'm going to give it a data type, maybe a string. Oh, why did I write? I'm sorry. A static variable, and then I'm going to give it a data type of string. Now let's say right now I just want to put my location. I can just say location as my variable name, and my location, it will tell me maybe right now I want to be in Madagascar. I'll just say my location is Madagascar. I just want to go and see the penguins from Madagascar. Okay, let's now see. My location is Madagascar. Then now the static variable, as I said, it helps us to easily access the variable without creating an object. So if we want to easily access our variable on inside the main function, we'll just easily access it without the need for using an object. So if we want to print out the value of our location, then we just go to the main function and write system.out.println. After that, we easily access our object. How are we going to easily access our object? We first write our class name, which is variables, then dot location, then dot location. After easily accessing it, now we can run. So now when we compile our source code and run it, we easily now expect to have three outputs, which is the first name, age, and our location. So let's now compile and see if there is any error available, which is Java variables dot Java. We can easily compile as follows, and there's not any error which is present. And then we're just going to run our bytecode, which is variables. We can easily write like that, variables.class, or you can just easily write variables. And after that, now we get three outputs. The first output, it's our name. The second output is our age, which is an instance variable. And the third output is our location, which is static variable. Let me just comment here, static variable. So until right now, we have just discussed all types of variables which are available in Java. So to wind up, we have just discussed three types of variables in Java, which are local variables, instance variables, and static variables. So until right now, you have a good understanding about variables in Java. So on the next chapter or on the next tutorial, we're going to discuss about data types in Java. So if you haven't subscribed yet on our channel, please subscribe on our channel and click the bell icon so as you can be notified when we post a new tutorial on Java and other tutorials which are to come. So keep coding and keep practicing.